Hey guys, wanted to talk about sending your files to us for an episode. This seems very simple, but we want to make sure things are labeled properly and make the process easy for you guys. It's easy for things to get lost or missed or mislabeled, or perhaps we're looking for files, we can't find them, but they're there, they're just labeled incorrectly. So just thought it would be good to run through. We basically want to zip and compress everything before we upload it to Drive. So there's two scenarios once you're done recording your episode, and I'm going to talk about both of those. So let's say you record to your computer. So here we're looking at my Finder here. I just put in some random files here just for the sake of example under podcast recordings. Let's say you record on Zoom and Zoom.us, the call app, by the way, not the H6. And you have your files downloaded. Let's say you have some headshots for your guest, their bio, things like that. So here's all my files. You want to get them all in the same place. They're ready to roll. Now what you want to do is highlight all of them, right click, go to compress, and this is going to make a copy of all 6 of these and put them in their own .zip file. And this is convenient because instead of uploading 6 files, maybe one thing takes longer than the other and it gets lost or something, or it fails. We avoid that issue by having one single file. Also, it does copy them. So you're at liberty to move this zip and keep these 6 files in their original place. So if you want to keep a backup on your computer just to be safe, even though we're doing that for you, totally easy to do this with the zip method. Now, one thing before you upload it, we recommend relabeling this because as default it's going to save it as archive.zip. So if you click enter or double click here to open the name of the file and just rename it after the name of your guest name.zip. Or if it's a solo episode, let's say you're talking about 9 steps to financial freedom. That's helpful for us. When we get that, we know exactly what episode it's supposed to go to, as opposed to seeing a bunch of things called archive. So this is one option, again, if you record on your computer. The other one is very similar. It just looks a little different here because the file structure is different. So if you record on the H6, that means everything that you have is going to be on an SD card. That SD card is going to go into your computer or into an adapter that's plugged into your computer. And you're going to see, once you plug that in, here in your Finder, the disk here labeled H6 SD. Now, for the majority of you, everything that you record on your SD card is going to be in folder 1. It's very rare that you'll ever see anything in folder 2 through 10. If I open these, you can see they're all empty. Folder 1 is where all my recordings are going to be. So let's open folder 1. And there's a ton of recordings here. So our recommendation is to upload your files after every recording. That way you never have to go back and try to catalog these or listen to them to figure out who it was. So hopefully you don't see 26 files on your SD card. But for example, let's just open Zoom 1. And inside Zoom 001 is going to be however many tracks you recorded on. So you can see track 2 and track 4 here. That means I recorded this with just 2 channels on the Zoom. Track 2 and track 4 were the only ones activated. So if it's just you would only see 1 track in here, and all of these files will be .wav, and they'll always be labeled Zoom 1 _ track 2 .wav is how they're all going to be named. If you had 4 or 6 people on your recording, you would see 4 or 6 files in this folder. So let's say Zoom 1 is one single episode. This one is a little easier because you don't have to highlight anything. You just need to right click on this Zoom 01 folder. Right click on that, And again, go to compress. It will make an archive. And if you're making an archive of a folder, it will automatically name that zip after the folder. But again, Zoom 01 isn't very helpful for us. So we again want to rename that after the name of your guest. Okay, now that your zip file is made, you're good to go. Let's go ahead and upload these to Google Drive. So if you go ahead to your Google Drive folder, and I'll just open one of our template folders that we have here, test podcast folder. Remember, the client folder is separate from ours, And inside your client folder for your show, you have something called upload files here. So this part is, if you're using the browser, really easy. Just open the upload files here folder. Go back to your Finder, grab the zip, and drag and drop, and it will upload. Now, the trick with this, and you have to be careful if your files are very big or if you have video files especially, is that it will take time to upload the files. The longer you recorded, the bigger the files are, and the more people you recorded with, the bigger the files will be. So if you had 4 tracks and you recorded for 2 or 3 hours, those files are pretty huge. So when you're uploading those, you want to make sure that you have some time to spare, because it might take, if you're on bad Wi-Fi, it might take 3 to 5 hours to upload really big files like that. So just pay attention to that. A lot of times we recommend, at the end of the day before you go to bed, get all your stuff ready to upload, throw those in Drive, and just let your computer sit overnight, and all of those will be done and uploaded by the time you wake up. There is another option for Google Drive to have it on your computer instead of running it in the browser. We'll talk about that in a different video.